Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Sam's Financial Corner. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the closure of Mainvest. I did a video a year ago talking about Mainvest, and so I'm going to follow up now with, unfortunately, its closure. So last Tuesday, I think that was May the 14th, they sent out an email to all of their customers and said, hey, we're closing our doors basically due to internal and external reasons. Of course, that doesn't make anybody who's an investor feel good because I literally went, oh God, what's going to happen to my investments. The great thing I want you all to understand, or not, well, it is kind of a sad or a good thing. Since Mainvest, I want you to think of Mainvest as an intermediary, the same way that Chime is an intermediary, and a lot of these other fintech companies out here, they're intermediaries between you and financial institutions. So Mainvest, for example, had Evolve Bank and Synapse that were basically responsible for processing transactions and the ones that are responsible for actually holding the funds of the account. The same way that Chime is the intermediary, but your money actually sits with Stride Bank. So I want you to keep that in mind. So the kind of good thing about that is on the investment side, if you've invested through Mainvest, and I want to make a distinction between Mainvest and the other platforms that are out here, such as Republic, Start Engine, and WeFunder. That Mainvest was more of a, you were more of a loan, like a bank, not even a loan. You were more of a bank that loaned small investors money. Because I remember there was another investment that my investment group did, and one of our members presented it, said, I think it's a good thing, want to support this business. And as I was reading through the SEC filings, I was like, we're making a loan to them. And he was like, but this is investment, this is equity. And I'm like, no, it's not equity. So with Mainvest, you really weren't contributing to make an equity stake or receive an equity stake in an investment. I don't believe on the platforming. You could, but don't quote me on that. But most of the time, when you made an investment on Mainvest with a small business, you were basically loaning them money and they were making the promise that they would repay you your principal plus interest. And if they're repaying principal plus interest, then it's a loan. And that's not a bad thing either. But I just wanted to make that distinction because sometimes when people like, oh, okay, I invest in a small business. Well, if you're not going to receive an equity stake at some point in the future, then it really isn't you're not making an investment. It's more like you're providing a loan. So I just wanted to make that distinction. So the good thing is that the company should reach out to you directly. There's the one that I have that they've reached out. They're like, hey, we know what's going on. Just make sure your email and your address is okay. If you're seeing this email, at least we know your email address is good. But please make sure that, your address on file is correct. Um, So you shouldn't have no worries on the investment side, but that's not where investors have their concerns. And I totally understand because on the other side, if you have money sitting in these accounts and you're trying to make withdrawals due to everything that's going on, that has been held up. So if you see the message here, due to the ongoing dispute between Evolve Bank and Synapse, all payment processing on Mainvest is currently unavailable, including withdrawals and bank linkage. Learn more here. We will be notifying all users via email as updates become available. For more information, refer to the Investor Support Hub or Business Support Hub. Note that all portfolio information will be emailed to investors no later than June 12, 2024, and repayment information will be provided to issuers no later than June 12, 2024. So in an email that basically they sent out yesterday, so basically what happens is now, so okay, let me give my thoughts. Okay, I want to make sure I say this correctly. So when you're dealing with an intermediary or such as Mainvest, you have to remember that Mainvest is basically the platform that kind of allows you to make these investments, to do these things, but this isn't normally where your money resides, and there's most likely another entity that is processing your transactions. So I want to read a little bit and paraphrase some of the email just so that people can be aware, and then okay. So on May 17th, Evolve and Synapse had an emergency hearing in front of the U.S. Bankruptcy Court, in which Synapse was ordered to restore access to Evolve so they could begin reviewing transactions with the goal of unfreezing activity. It is not clear if that access was restored or if Evolve began reviewing transactions. And that is unfortunate. A lot of times, and that's one thing that we have to be mindful of as we've moved into this era of dealing with fintech companies. If the actual fintech, and when I say financial, they're financial tech companies, and like I mentioned, Chime, Greenwood Bank, Mainvest started, a lot of these are fintech companies. So we got to be kind of mindful when we utilize these platforms because they're still relatively new. But, banks in general do not want a huge amount of withdrawals at one time. And so what you see now is that they have frozen accounts, which is unfortunate. He said a statement from Evolve that the bank is well capitalized and reaffirms their commitment to collaborating with industry partners with the shared goal of providing customers access to their funds. On May 19th, Evolve and Synapse met again yesterday. The Synapse CEO tweeted that little progress was made with Evolve, unable to disclose what was discussed today given it's supposed to be confidential, but no progress was made with Evolve. Now, Evolve is the bank where your funds are held, and Synapse is the company that facilitates the transaction. Um, on 520, they say a former Synapse employees appeared to have contacted Judge Barish, um, warning that the wind down plan was not properly implemented, but we cannot determine the validity of those statements. And the Federal Reserve has stated that they are not getting involved because while accounts at Evolve Bank are FDIC insured, the Federal Reserve would only get involved in the case of a bank failure, which is not occurring. So that's kind of an important thing to note as well. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought the FDIC may get more involved, but it's not a bank closure. See, you learn something new every day. Let's see. There are some frequently asked questions. I want to go over these very briefly. Did Mainvest create a bank run on Evolve? No. Mainvest user base represents 0.2% of all users affected by the Synapse Evolve situation. Mainvest closure did not create a bank run. And okay. Does Mainvest have access to our money? Your accounts are FBO for benefit of accounts held in your name, not Mainvest, and we do not have access to your funds. We only initiate transactions that you've signed off on. Choosing to withdraw funds from your linked bank account or make a custodial wallet investment. And that is something, that phrase right there is what I want you to understand. If anything else from this video, I want you to walk away with that your money is in accounts like for benefit only, that they don't have access, just like with Chime and other fintech companies. And it says, why can't we pull out our money? Evolve Bank has frozen payment processing by Synapse, our banking partner, due to dispute between Evolve and Synapse. Due to the freeze in payment processing, we're unable to facilitate the normal flow of funds, such as investments, withdrawals, and refunds. One question is, when we'll be able to get access to our funds. The answer quickly is they don't know. There's an emergency hearing on Friday, May 24th. Synapse and Evolve have another emergency hearing, and they said we aim to have another update for users pending the outcome of that hearing early next week. What should we do in the meantime? We are still setting up one-on-one meetings with businesses to implement offboarding plans, ensuring that you have a full understanding of investor relations and repayment requirements moving forward. Please reach out to schedule a call if you haven't already. As a reminder, all businesses will receive an offboarding package containing your full list of investors, a zip file with all executed legal agreements, a repayment model to help calculate quarterly revenue payments by investors moving forward, and a list of third-party payment options to assist in the transition. Investors, we will be emailing your portfolio information, agreements, and transaction history to you by June 12th. If you have withdrawn all funds from your custodial wallet, no further action is required. If you are still awaiting funds from your custodial wallet, please ensure that your address on file is accurate, and otherwise await further update from our team regarding payment processing timelines. We appreciate your patience as we work through this immensely challenging time. So, again, for a lot of us who have invested through Mainvest and have money sitting in accounts, this is not a good feeling. I will keep you all updated, but I also want to stress when it comes to investing with using these fintech companies, and again, not saying that there's anything wrong with them. My philosophy, and I think it's a philosophy that many should kind of develop at this point, until we get to a place where these fintech companies are operating more like traditional ones, it may be best in the future for you, or maybe best right now. You can still utilize the companies. I still think the companies are great. Mainvest's closure helped me to realize something that I kind of already subconsciously thought about, and that sometimes when you're dealing with these companies, it's best to, if you're going to invest through them, it's not a problem. But I don't think it's wise to hold money in these wallets or to hold a lot of funds in these accounts, because now things like this happen and you want access to your money and you can't. So my advice is, of course, still utilize these companies. You definitely can. But just, I would say, if you're going to make investments, put enough in there for the investment. Don't leave a large amount in there or be like, oh no, I'll just do it at some other point, because you just don't, you never know what can happen. I'll keep you all updated. I'm really curious to see how this pans out. I really hope that the dispute between Evolve Bank and Synapse is, resolved so that customers can get their money. And that's it. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.